Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Order Up, the Final Order Cutoff show. This week, we're going to be talking about comics that are on Final Order Cutoff Monday, October 6th. We have a bevy of incredible books to discuss and an amazing special guest. And, well, you might not like his creations when he's angry. You'll love him when he's talking. All that and more after this opener.
Hi everyone, I'm Mathias Lewis, and I'm here to talk to you about FOC, or Final Order Cutoff. It is the last chance that we, the comic retailers, have to finalize our orders for comics releasing roughly 3 to 6 weeks out from the Mondays we finalize our orders. We deal with this every Monday, but this is important to you, the consumer, because it is the perfect time to reach out to your local comic shop if you want any specific or guaranteed items. If you want the Jim Lee or Dan Mora covers of Justice League Unlimited, reach out to your local comic shop and let us know. If you want the new issue of Lilo and Stitch, this is the perfect time to tell us. Because as long as you can get us the orders before Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, that will give your local comic shop retailer enough time to finalize that order, adding in whatever it is you want, so they can guarantee when it releases, we have a copy set aside waiting for you. So, always reach out to your local comic shop before 6 p.m. on Mondays with the comics you want. The sooner, the better, to guarantee they're waiting for you.
And today's books are for the comics on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, October 6th. Yes, we are in Halloween season now, and there are a lot of comics representing that, even though many of the books that we're going to be talking about are releasing not only in late October, but in early November. And on top of that, we have an incredible special guest we'll be talking about soon. But first, I want to remind everyone who is following along at home how you can see all the comics that are on Final Order Cutoff each week. So there are 2 key websites to view these things on. And right now you can see prhcomics.com is the perfect place to see all of your books that are coming out from Marvel, Dark Horse, IDW, Distillery, Boom, and Ignition. You can go to prhcomics.com and see a website like this. Right there at the bottom of the screen, you'll see FOC October 6, 2025. You'll click that and bounce over to all of the comics on FOC this Monday. Excuse me 1 second while I sneeze. Always fun to do that live on camera. On top of that, if you guys are fans of DC, Image, Oni, Dynamite, and more, you're going to want to check out lunardistribution.com, the distributor for that. And from there, you can just simply scroll down to upcoming FOC. Make sure you're on the right website there. October 6th, 2025, the right date, my apologies, will be there. With that said, you guys can follow us along on those 2 websites. But I think it is time to bring on an amazing guest. He is a man who has written everything from Aliens to Venom. He is a member of the U.S. Army. He is perhaps best known for his unbelievable runs on The Incredible Hulk and Superman. None other than Phillip Kennedy Johnson.
What's up, brother? Thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us. You have an amazing array of books currently coming out and on FOC this week and the weeks to come. So, can we talk about the Hulk?
Yeah, dude. Absolutely. Let's talk about Hulk.
All right. So first off, I want to point out, wow, my voice is all over the place today. It's always fun to be live. First off, I want to talk about the fact that Incredible Hulk 30 is the final issue of this unbelievable run you've been doing, where we have seen the Hulk battle all sorts of crazy monsters. But on October 15th, we get to the end of it, Incredible Hulk 30. Can you tell us a little bit about this big battle with the Abomination?
Yeah, well, it's actually not. It's like it is an end and a beginning. So the Incredible Hulk run that we've been doing up till now has been basically the first act of a 3-act story. And issue 30 is the one where it all kind of comes to a head and everything we've been building to. All the pieces that we've been putting on the board for the last 30 issues, all the cameos from fan favorite characters and monsters, and all the new ones we've introduced. The stuff with like this crazy arc that Charlie, Bruce Banner, and Hulk have been on. That all comes to a head in issue 30. And we see a fight with one of Hulk's greatest foes. And not just Abomination, but Eldest as well. We're going to see just this epic rematch that began with issue 19. And we're going to get our first clear look at the Mother of Horrors finally. And God, I can't wait for everyone to see. There's two-page spreads in this issue that are just going to blow people's minds and hopefully get them really excited for what's to come. So yeah, from the events of issue 30, including some first appearances, that's going to springboard us right into Infernal Hulk #1 that begins very soon and is on FOC this Monday. So we are over the top stoked for everyone to see what's coming. It's the biggest swing I've taken at Marvel for sure. And it's the beginning of Act 2.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I'm not always the biggest Hulk fan, but the Incredible Hulk run you've been doing has been amazing. It's been the Buffy the Vampire Slayer supernatural era of Hulk with all of these really great monsters. You've had an all-star cast of Marvel heroes making their way in and out of this. But I have no idea how we're going to go from this awesome Incredible Hulk run to this split figure we're seeing as the Infernal Hulk. So can you give us a little bit of a rundown on what's been happening on Incredible Hulk and how that will lead to the book on FOC this Monday?
Sure. Well, in Incredible Hulk #1, we introduced this creature named Eldest. And it turns out that Eldest is the firstborn child of this ancient primordial goddess named the Mother of Horrors, who is like, she kind of represents the seed of corruption that is responsible for the birth of all monsters on Earth. This whole series so far has been Eldest trying to get Hulk's flesh, because like Hulk is like a key to open the prison of the Mother of Horrors, and Eldest wants to open it and unleash the Mother of Horrors on the world and usher in a new age of monsters. And that is basically the framework for the first 30 issues. We've seen Hulk as like the monster of the movie. Like Hulk is this thing that stalks Banner. Banner's kind of the protagonist of the horror flick with this monster that's stalking him from behind his eyes. They're very much at odds. So we've, through the eyes of this POV character named Charlie Tidwell, we've kind of seen this hate triangle between Charlie, Bruce, and Hulk, and seen them, grow and change over the last 30 issues as Hulk has become kind of a lightning rod for all the monsters of Earth as Eldest tries to get her hands on him. And that all leads to issue 30. So we've been introducing this whole mythology that ties in with mythologies that we've seen in the past in pages of like old stories in Silver Surfer and Thor that kind of talk about the origins of Earth. That all ties in with what we're doing here. And it shows that the Mother of Horrors is kind of this missing link in those stories. This is the beginning of a new chapter in the Hulk story that we've been telling. Up until now, Hulk has been Banner's monster. And starting with Infernal Hulk, Hulk is the monster of the Marvel Universe. There's about to be a lot more interaction with other books, with you're going to see a lot more characters in the pages of Infernal Hulk. He's not just Banner's problem anymore. Now he's a problem for everyone. So I'm really excited to see more interaction with the rest of the Marvel U.
And I mean, it's a huge title. I mean, we've had him start out as the Incredible Hulk. We've seen him become the Immortal Hulk. Why Infernal?
Because it just this is the name that fit him. Like, this is the first time we've seen a Hulk with he's not just a loose cannon like we've seen in the past. Like we've seen scary Hulks in the past where he's come to Earth angry and trying to take down his old friends because they did something wrong. This is different. Infernal Hulk, this is a new quote unquote alter for the Incredible Hulk. A lot of people have their favorite Hulks that they want to see in the book. People sometimes ask if we're going to see Joe Fixit, or if we're going to see Demon Hulk, if we're going to see the World Breaker, the Green Scar. Infernal Hulk is something new, and he's the scariest Hulk we've ever seen. He's not just mean or angry. He has a very specific plan for Earth. He's a legit, like, the monster now, and I can't wait for everyone to see what we have in store for him, and what we have in store for Banner too. Like, I don't want to spoil anything that's about to be revealed in issue 30, but his design, his physical design, it's story driven. He looks the way he does because of the events of issue 30. So I want people to see what's coming, and yeah, Infernal was the best name for him. He's a scary dude.
All right. So issue number 30 of Incredible Hulk comes out October 15th. For people who perhaps have not been reading Hulk, is this something they can still dive in and, catch up, or should they wait for the big jump on Infernal Hulk number 1?
I think Incredible Hulk 30 is a good place to jump in. I mean, even if only as a collector's item, like, you're going to see Mother of Horrors for the first time in this issue. It's straight up Bernie Wrightson. The thing that the pages that Nick drew in this issue, man, it's like right out of Bernie Wrightson's Frankenstein. It's insane, the amount of detail on the page, the design work that he did for this issue. You just got to have it. It's so good. Yeah. Anyway, I'm not going to tell anyone not to pick up Incredible Hulk 30. It's probably the best art Nick's ever drawn. Even if you don't read a word of it, it's amazing. So yeah, but it does set up the events of Infernal Hulk extremely well. So I would definitely start here if you can.
All right. So obviously this Monday, October 6th, we got to get in our orders to everyone has to go to their local retailer, let them know Infernal Hulk number 1, a bevy of incredible covers on there. But November 26th, what is the thing that is going to, what is the pitch that makes everyone need Infernal Hulk number 1?
Is the biggest status quo change in Hulk's history, full stop. Also, it was going to be a Red Band book, and we ended up not doing that because eventually this will all be collected, and we didn't want the whole book to be Red Band. But honestly, we didn't tone down the art at all. When we were making this thing, we intended it to be a Red Band story, and it still is that thing. It's just not in the plastic bag. So this is, again, every issue. I know I just said this about Incredible Hulk 30, but Nick's getting better and better every issue. Like, I have to kind of step up my game as the writer to keep up with him. Like, I'm trying to give him stuff that no one else can do. We're returning to, let's see, what can I spoil?
Well, keep in mind,
you guys
this goes to everyone too.
What's that?
This does go to everyone. This is not just retailers. This is consumers. This is viewers.
Yeah.
Can we give them this hint?
Yeah, if you guys were happy with the Brother Deep issues towards the beginning of this run in Red Creek, Kentucky, we're going to see that location again. I'm pretty excited about that. It's the first proper look, like full reveal of Infernal Hulk on the page. We're going to see how it relates to the rest of the Marvel universe. I mean, man, we just never seen a Hulk as ruthless, as violent as this, as scary as this. It's the biggest status quo change of his history. That's the best pitch I can give you. Like, it's the biggest change Hulk's ever seen.
Well, I have to say, Marvel's been hinting that 2026 has been going to be quite the green year of the Hulk. Is this where it all starts?
Yes. Yeah, this ramps up from here on out. It's just like a ski jump, man. Like, beginning in this issue, well, the events of issue 30, but then Infernal Hulk number 1 forward, it just, every issue is like bigger until it gets to this crazy thing that we're doing next year. So yeah, this is the place to start. So please don't miss this. This is a big deal.
All right. So not just for those of you who are readers, for retailers, this is the book you want to invest in because it only gets bigger from here.
It's a big deal. Yeah. It changes things. And not
And
just for Hulk, but for Marvel.
it seems like it's not just, yeah, for Hulk. It is for Marvel because the cover to issue number 2, which hits December 10th, seems to bring the Hulk not only from this landscape of traveling America and fighting monsters, not only going into the Hulkscape and the beneath it all realm that is below even hell, it looks like he's going down into the ocean and into Atlantis.
Yeah. Well, I mean, man, sorry, I almost had to like pull back some words just now. It's, I mean, yeah, the events of issue 30 like kind of set it up. But I mean, again, this has to do with Eldest and the Mother of Horrors and what the mission statement is going forward. So it's monsters all over the world are involved, and some of which you're going to recognize. So
I'm
yeah,
excited for that. Yeah, I mean, I know the solicit for issue number 2, which we're FOCing on November 3rd, is the war with Atlantis. And I will always be a Namor fan, and I love Hulk's interaction with him and the Defenders and everything. This looks enticing.
it's going to be good. Yeah, Namor's on the cover. He's going to be in that book.
All right.
Atlantis to me in DC or Marvel or anywhere else, I always want to see more Atlantis. Like it's never as different or as crazy as I want it to be. So we try to bring some of that in issue 2.
So maybe in 2027 or 2028, we could see you taking on Namor or Aquaman.
I'd love that. I mean, we'll see. Never say never.
All right. So Hulk, obviously, going to be a huge hype. We've been having all sorts of fun on this. I am super excited to see the numbers my store is going to take in for Infernal Hulk this Monday, and I can't wait to see everyone placing their order with their local comic shop. But this isn't the only big hero that you're doing. I mean, it's always there's one argument when you're having the Hulk fight a non-Marvel character. There is one big blue guy at DC that takes it all, and you're handling that as well over at DC with the Adventures of Superman, correct?
Yes, sir. Adventures of Superman, Book of L.
All right. I mean, I was loving your Action Comics run. The incredible battle you put Superman through with Mongol and all of his people has been incredible. But now we're going to a whole new level with the Book of L. Can you talk
Yeah.
a little bit about issue 3, which is on FOC next week, October 13th?
Yeah, totally. Oh, Book of L is the capstone to my 5-year Superman run. So when I came on to Superman and Action Comics, I Superman had to spend a lot of time in Metropolis for a while. There'd been a lot of stories that deal a lot with his supporting cast and the Daily Planet, and it was a very humanizing story that was terrific. But I was ready to take him into space for this gigantic Spartacus epic, And so yeah, we kind of blew out Warworld into this much more interesting, complicated setting than we've seen in the past. We introduced the mythology of Algren, god of gods, one of the first world gods. He was one of basically the author of creation, and introduced the idea that his 7 aspects that make up who he was are still out there in the world, and one of them is inside Warworld, but there's many others. And that whole story comes together now in Adventures of Superman, Book of L. This is the end of my intended run on Superman. So my first omnibus that released earlier this year runs up to the end of the Warworld saga. And then my second omnibus that will come out in a couple of years begins right after that with the Rise of Metallo, all the way through the stuff with Sister Shadow and everything that we did there, some short stories and things, and then into Adventures of Superman, Book of L, along with the actual Book of L that I'm also writing as I go here. Like the Book of L is kind of like this Old Testament of Superman's history and lineage and what happens to Earth after he's away. And very much like the work I did on the Felspire Chronicles, there's a lot of prose, like journals and things in there. There's some scholarly texts. There's original poetry and music in it. Like that's all going to be part of that second omnibus as well. So a lot of that is contained in Book of L. Book of L is kind of the summary of my mission statement on who Superman is and should be.
Well, I mean, and you're quite the world shaper when it comes to these things. I mean, with Hulk, we've been seeing all sorts of new dimensions and concepts and monsters. Whereas with the Book of El, you're taking it to a whole timeline. I mean, I've been loving the prose that we've been getting at the back of the Book of El. You've been getting, writings from Kara Zor-El all the way through timelines almost into the far-flung future, 1,000 years from now with Superman. And this is the interesting thing. This is a time traveling tale with Superman. The twist at the end of issue number 2. If you guys have not went out and picked up Adventures of Superman Book of El number 2, the twist of the old man, you gotta grab it. It is amazing.
Thanks.
But how do you approach a crazy time travel story that gives us this whole history, not only of Kryptonians as a whole and their various offshoots, but the history of Superman? How do you approach something that epic?
Well, the pitch I've been getting people for Adventures of Superman Book of El is Action Comics meets Samurai Jack. Like that is what it boils down to. So we see the events of present day that kind of spin out of the events of the War World saga. We see Krill-Ux, his old enemy from War World, his frenemy, I guess. They were allies first. And now he's kind of got the potential to be this big bad that I wanted to see realized. When you have this whole timeline that you're building out, it's a ton of work, of course, but it's also really freeing because now you've got control over everything that's happened since then. So if you have, selfish little desires that you wanted to see with the Green Lanterns or with, anything else from War World or with Brainiac or Luthor or, all the pieces are on the board. You can play with everything because this timeline exists only for us. It's just so freeing, and it just enables you to do such fun, rewarding work. So I'm making the most of it.
And then on top of that, despite these grand, massive plans, you still manage to bring it home with like these very subtle family moments. I have to say, seeing Superman with the twins has been amazing. Seeing his relationship with Jonathan, his son, has been brilliant. Like, how do you approach these big epics but still manage to bring it all down to the most relatable family moments?
I mean, it's just crucial. I mean, it's not even a question of how to do it. You just have to. Like that's everything else kind of has to be around that. Like if it was just a story about him punching giant monsters, the comic store is filled with characters that can do that. But Superman is different. When you're writing a Superman story, you're making a philosophical statement about how best to be human. And I take that very seriously. And it can't just be about the spectacle. I kind of had this rule for myself that the only reason his powers can be on the page is to illustrate how incorruptible he is. He can't just be kicking ass for no reason or because he's the tough guy and wants to show it. It has to be to use it, to wield that power with absolute compassion and humility. That has to be the reason. So that often is done by giving them those really personal, just ground level kind of moments. Like you've got to have a moment where he's, whatever was an example, like, knocking the kaiju into orbit or whatever, but then coming down and checking everybody and like tying the little kid's shoe as he's talking to her to make sure that she's not scared anymore. Like those little things that if somebody only had a 30,000 foot view of us as humans, they wouldn't take the time to do that kind of thing. So yeah, it's just crucial. Like there's a thing that I wrote in the Metallo story. I think it was like right when he came back to Earth. There was a very fun, bombastic scene, kind of like something you'd see in the animated series. Like there's this military crazy sci-fi vehicle has just been stolen by these bad guys, and it's zooming down the street. They're trying to get it over the bridge out of Metropolis, and they're shooting at stuff, and they're knocking cars off the street, and it's just a big mess. And Superman just kind of swoops down and just stands right in front of him, and just puts his hand out and stops the giant truck thing. And but they get off one last shot, and it shoots this car, and the car is going over the bridge, and he swoops down. It's all very Superman visuals. Like you can just hear John Williams' music in it, not just from his power, but from his like the gentleness and what he's doing, even as he's like stopping stuff with his hand. Like it's he's just trying not to hurt anyone, even while he's doing these godlike things. He brings up the car filled with people, puts it back on the bridge. But then he's like, he goes into the back seat and he's like, "Everyone okay back here?" And it's these two little kids that are real shook up. And but they're so happy to see him. And one of them tries to give him his little stuffed Flash puppy. And he says something like, "It's okay, buddy. You keep him. I think he'd really miss you. But I'll tell you what you can do, though. You keep wearing your seatbelt just like you did today. Like that seatbelt did more to keep you safe than anything I did." And he makes them, it's like, "Can you do that for me?" And he's like, "Yeah, I can do that." And it just makes the kids feel like the hero, like that's the most important part of that whole scene. Like, it's not stopping the truck, because anyone in the Justice League could have done that, but Superman is the one that talks to the kids and smiles at them and kind of, lets them, hold his finger and kind of shaking hands and checking on them and making sure they understand that seatbelt's why you're safe. Like, you did a great thing. You protected your little brother because of that seatbelt. Those are the moments that define who Superman is more than anything else that he does in the book. So that's just got to be there.
And you nail it so perfectly. To go from this Monday, we have some of the darkest horror with the Infernal Hulk on FOC.
Yeah, and then there's my other book.
Have the absolute hope of Superman with Adventures of Superman Book of Hell. But there's one other book you have coming up on FOC in a completely different light. From the darkness of the Infernal Hulk to the hope of the Adventures of Superman, we have Batman and Robin, which you have been pairing up this dynamic duo. A brand new arc comes on FOC October 20th, so just week after week with you. Hitting stores November 12th. It's Batman and Robin number 27, and you have a brand new villain coming to light in that, correct?
I do, yeah. Well, he first appeared in 25, but things are changing. I don't know how much I should say, because sometimes the solicits come out a little more spoilery than I intend. But yeah, there's a new bad guy in this arc called the Quiet Man, and man, I'm excited about him. Like, there's he is himself a father, and that ties in very much with his motives for being in Gotham. The Quiet Man is an extremely dangerous man, but he started out as a normal guy that had a bad day, very much like the Waynes did. But he didn't have the resources or the assets or the skills or the money or the intelligence that Bruce Wayne had. And his path was very different, but it ends up with him in Gotham looking for vengeance, very much like Batman is. So yeah, it's a way to really illustrate the difference between Batman and everyone else. It shows somebody else, like a normal person who just can't let it go, same as Batman. So I'm really excited for people to see him. But it also introduces, this arc actually brings back a fan favorite villain that I'm really excited for. Somebody that I feel like is a little bit underserved in the comics. Somebody I love seeing on the shelves. So Quiet Man is the main antagonist, but soon he's going to actually hand that role over to somebody else. And I'm super excited for fans to see who it is.
That is exciting. So, I mean, three major sets of characters: Hulk, Superman, and Batman, week after week on FOC, and all three hitting, key issues, this month and next. It's a lot of power you have underneath your pen.
Well, thanks. That's kind of you to say. I don't take it lightly. I'll say that. Like, there's such a clear mission statement for every one of these books. I mean, Superman especially. That's such an important thing. Like, every Superman story matters so much. Batman and Robin, though, I've got a lot to say about that. Like, as a dad, like, my son and I are weirdly close. Like, I love that kid more than anything. And especially after writing Superman as like the ideal father for so long, getting to see a much more complicated dynamic with Batman and Robin has been such a joy, but also really interesting and kind of complex. Like, what must it be like to grow up in that house? Like, Batman, who like is the epitome of human achievement, who has to stand shoulder to shoulder with people like, Superman, Sinestro, and Darkseid, and Solomon Grundy or whatever, and win. His superpower is that he wins every time. What must it be like to make yourself into something like that? And what must it be like to be a teenage kid of a guy like that, and being raised the same way, at least as Bruce perceives it? Like they're both so unbelievably capable, but also so busted in their own ways. And it's just a joy to write them both.
And an incredible job. So, reminding everyone, get your orders in this Monday, October 6th, Infernal Hulk #1. Next Monday, October 13th, Adventures of Superman Book of L #3. And then the Monday after that, October 20th, Batman and Robin 27. Some phenomenal stuff.
Thank you,
Any
brother.
last things you want to say to remind everyone that these are the books they need to be ordering?
I think you've said it all very well. I mean, Superman is, man, I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to write Superman as long as I have, and to make a statement with him as I've tried to do, especially in times like these. Like, it's just such a crucial story. Not just my story, but like the story of Superman is just an important thing that we need more than ever. So being able to tell that, and then getting to, pay tribute to my own son and the pages of Batman and Robin, and to contribute to the Marvel mythology the way that I have in Infernal Hulk. Every one of them is such a privilege, and I really feel like they all matter so much. So yeah, I really hope people check these out. I could not be prouder of them, and I just hope people love them like I do.
Absolutely. And anybody who wants to go track down and catch up, the Incredible Hulk trade paperbacks are out now. We have that amazing Superman by Phillip Kennedy Johnson omnibus that released July 25th, still available at your local comic shop, or available for order if they are sold out, because I imagine it's a high demand item. And then, of course, Batman and Robin, you've been doing a phenomenal job. So if anybody wants to track you down online to find more of the amazing works you're working on, where can they find you?
I have a website. It's phillipkennedyjohnson.com, 2 L's in Phillip. I'm also online everywhere. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, all the Twitter descendants. I'm on the most social media under Phillip K. Johnson. Facebook's just my full name. So yeah, look me up.
All right. Some amazing things coming this way with Hulk. So do not miss out this 15th of October on Incredible Hulk 30 and get your orders in on Infernal Hulk. Thank you so much for joining us, Phillip.
Dude, of course, man. Great to see you.
It's great seeing you too. All right. And we're going to do a quick commercial break and then come back with all the rest of the books that are on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, October 6th.
Symphonic verses, Nocturne's romance. A song of romanticized darkness, dreaming death by sleep.
Sure, comic books are beautiful, but underneath, there's something more authentic and exciting. The original art. See the pencils, the lines, the shading, as if you were there in the studio watching the artist work. Getting a peek at comics' backstage is easy with the original art experience.
All right, Friday night, guys. Thank you for being here. To be doing anything, the fact that you're here means the world to me.
Nick's pieces are always value priced with your budget in mind, for the beginning collector to the veteran.
And this is gorgeous. You got Aquaman and Mira.
Join the original art experience with Nick and our friendly crew of regulars, even if it's just to enjoy the art. Fridays at 7. It's all part of the experience.
Download our app on Google Play and the App Store. It's so simple, even my mommy can use it.
Live from New York. What? Oh, sorry. Live from Cleveland? It's Friday night? It's Friday Night Live! with Nancy McCann and Ricky. And sometimes Carlos. And featuring boxes and boxes of rare comics. Unique collectibles. Lots of smiles and conversations with new friends. Friday Night Live with Comics Unlimited. Friday night from 9 to 11 on The Experience.
All right, we are back with all of the comics on Final Order Cutoff this Monday, October 6th. Kyle is busy running Edgar Allan Poe's annual Poe Fest, so I have the amazing Jay on production. How you doing, Jay?
Doing well, boss. Always a great time. It was so great seeing Mr. Johnson again, man. I could listen to that dude for hours. And honestly, it's so great that he's been added to the pantheon of legendary creators and writers for Superman. He's doing a terrific job.
Yeah, he is. I mean, his understanding of characters is just so perfect. I love reading whatever he is writing, but particularly those big legendary superheroes, because I really feel he has a grand understanding of how Superman works, how Hulk works, how Batman and Robin works. It just makes the content just so enjoyable.
Yeah, James Gunn, if you're listening, let this man write you a movie.
Absolutely. All right. So we got a lot of books we need to cover. So let's go pop over to prhcomics.com where you can see all the books on FOC. I need to point out that number one boyfriend or book boyfriend enamel pin. That is an ideal gift for anyone, who is your loved comic creator. And I am having so many fun moments on live today where just everything around me is blowing up. But so thank you for those of you putting up with me on this live stream today. Let's talk about some of these awesome books and start off with Amazing Spider-Man 15. I don't know if you've been reading this incredible run by Joe Kelly. It has just been all over the place. Bringing Spider-Man to the outer realms of the cosmos is not where I thought our friendly neighborhood spider would go. But with a new major first appearance in this, just compounding on issue after issue of new characters and crazy concepts, I'm loving it. This is reminding me of that X-Men era where the X-Men were interacting with the Shi'ar and the Brood, and it's not where I thought I wanted my mutants, but it was absolutely where they needed to be for some great storytelling, and this is where I feel Peter is right now. I don't know if you've been following Jay, but like his travels through space with his collection of Guardian-esque heroes has been out there.
This is one of the millions of books that are on my to-read pile.
Yeah, it is awesome. But if you need a bit more of a grounded Spider-Man, J. Michael Straczynski has been going back in time with Peter, with Torn, telling earlier tales of Peter Parker. And in a time period where both Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane are still alive, that hard choice of who does Peter love and who does he go after is an interesting dynamic to go back to, especially coming from a perspective we all have of Gwen, his one true love, in my perspective, no longer being alive, and Mary Jane being the person he has been with, and in some dimensions and alternate universes has children with, but obviously is Venom in the current storyline. So it's amazing to take a look at this, with our modern perspective, going back in time to having both as an option. It's really brilliant because we're getting new villains, we're getting new takes. If you're not reading Amazing Spider-Man, now is the time to be reading these brilliant books. But we have even more in that realm with a lot of great covers. If you haven't been seeing the Amazing Visions run by Lee Bermejo, is Mr. Bermejo giving us different key moments of Spider-Man's history. There are classic moment of the introduction with Mary Jane where you hit the jackpot. Inhyuk Lee is giving us these incredible street verse variants you'll be seeing throughout the month on FOC of all of our classic New York heroes preparing for the colder weather and throwing on their jackets and tennis shoes, which makes for an interesting take as well. Just a ton of great covers. And this is one of the things I always want to point out on this show because, well, there's amazing stories going on. Sometimes the cover you want is the definition you need to give to your local comic shop or their ordering manager so you know that you can get the cover you want, whether it be that Steve Rude Mary Jane cover, these incredible covers featuring Ilyana Rasputin, aka Magic, on Amazing X-Men and more. But a big one is when you get a brand new series like American Caper. American Caper is a new series coming out from Dark Horse with a ton of incredible creators working on it, from David Lapham to Joe Quinones, Tyler Boss. But the big thing is Dan Houser. And if you're not familiar with Dan Houser and Laszlo, they are some of the big figures behind, let's see, Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, and other classic video games. But now they're doing a down-home American mythos comic book story about modern day life and grand theft. And I think this is going to be a big one as it will especially drag in fans of the classic video games that have sold millions upon millions. I mean, if you haven't played Grand Theft Auto or Red Dead Redemption, I guarantee you know somebody who has. I mean, Jay, I assume you're somebody who's played one of those two video games.
Red Dead, my wife loves Red Dead 2.
Oh, there it is. So, with these two big figures creating their very first comic, I think American Caper is bound to get a lot of attention, and all the more be the reason you want to reach out to your local comic shop and let them know if you want to give this a shot, especially with the wide range of amazing covers by, Simon the Biz Bisley, Martin Simmons of Department of Truth, the infamous Joe Quinones, and the ever-rising talent of Tyler Boss, Marguerite Sauvage, and more. So, definitely worth paying attention to. Big names on this book, high potential. Meanwhile, we're talking big artists. I want to talk about the art of Witch Hat Atelier. I am certain I am mispronouncing this, but Kamome Shirahama has done artwork at DC, Marvel. Kamome has also done a Star Wars Vision animation, The Elder, that I'm sure many people loved, whether it was the animated streaming option on Disney Plus or the manga that dropped in Japan and recently in the US. This art book is going to be the first time we're going to see some of this art in America, or awkwardly, as it was worded in the solicitation, the first time some of this artwork has ever been published in English. Interesting way of translating artwork. But Kodansha is bringing this a very high quality hardcover, golden marking and inlay, $30, a very affordable way, and a must-have for manga fans. So another great one on FOC, as we just are barely cracking the A's on PRH Comics, because Avengers 32, a bunch of great covers, Streetverse covers, Luciano Vecchio covers, Mark Bagley doing the comic characters reading comics. But one I want to point out, and I'm hoping Jay will get a kick out of, is we're getting a new month of Disney themed variants as Marvel is truly taking in their owners of Disney with Toy Story themed variants.
That was the one I was hoping you were going to.
You gotta love it. A classic Avengers #4 homage that Andy would love, as we get all of our favorite toys and even the sensational Dr. Porkchop, the evilest villain in Andy's Playroom. I love these covers. I am all for Toy Story covers, especially with a new Toy Story movie dropping next year. It's crazy to think it's been 30 years of Toy Story. How old does that make you feel?
Yeah, that was the first one just came out 2 years ago. What are you talking about?
Yeah, there is definitely that pain I have every time a new Toy Story movie comes out, and I just get grayer and grayer for it. But I love it. I love getting a nod to those classic toys that help develop me, and I say help develop me as I hit my teens and 20s and 30s and onward with it, but is now developing my child. These are awesome characters to see homaged in my favorite Marvel covers. So bouncing forward, you can already see where I'm going if you're paying attention. A lot of great covers and a lot of great comics on FOC. A lot of wonderful homages, as even Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees gives a Harold and the Purple Crayon nod that is far too bloody for young children. But you're going to want to check out prhcomics.com to see all of these great covers, all of these great books, and let your local retailer know just which ones it is that you want. As we even get classic Star Wars stories reprinted with the new Legends line, like Timothy Zahn's Choices of One, which is a key Mara Jade tale post Thrawn. But another one I want to point out, outside of nodding the ridiculous title of Cuckolding Wizards Adventures Volume 1, I know that Jay is absolutely adoring, adding to that big mark.
Oh yeah, that's going to be on my pool for sure.
Is the return of Taboo to Marvel Comics with Echo, Seeker of Truth. Yes, Taboo, the infamous musician, is back writing more incredible Marvel Native Americans with Echo, Seeker of Truth, a brand new mini-series. Echo has been getting a lot of popularity thanks to Marvel Voices. I believe, didn't Echo make it to some of the Disney Plus Marvel streaming?
I believe so.
I believe
But
Echo was Echo in the Hawkeye streaming series.
I know she got her own, but I don't remember if she was ever. Yeah, she had her own one. Uh, Taboo also recently did the Ultimate Hawkeye. I found
Yeah.
out.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, awesome.
So awesome to see that Taboo is realizing the real money is not in music; it's in comics. Clearly, um, but brand new series, Echo Seeker of Truth. I love this David Mack cover. It is amazing, but there are even more great covers. So if you're looking for more great representation in comics, if you're looking for badass female protagonists, this is definitely one to pay attention to. So a lot of fun ones. Event Horizon continuing on. Event Horizon is a prequel to the infamous movie, giving us more content and the origin of that horrifying vessel of hell deep in the darkness of space. So Dark Descent continues on with its third issue. I'm loving this current run Ryan North is bringing us a Fantastic Four with Humberto Ramos's unbelievable artwork. It is exciting to see him drag in the Queen of Thieves, Black Cat, to Marvel's first family. But there are an incredible array of covers, including those Inhuckley Street Verses, Jenny Frisson, the Marco Palazzi Disney What If covers continuing on. And the final Scotty Young connecting piece featuring Human Torch there. Was wondering just where Mr. Fantastic's foot was this entire 4 of 5 issue stretch of connecting covers. Also, that fun reminder, you can also now easily get prose novels at any of your comic shops that access Penguin Random House. As George R. R. Martin's continuation of a song of Ice and Fire, and Frank Herbert's Dune saga now getting new adaptions, or rather adaptions, new collections to get those incredible prose tales. But you ready for me to drop your jaw on the floor, Jay?
Absolutely.
All right. This is a pitch I am literally pulling from the content of Distillery. What if George Lucas and the unbelievable Quentin Tarantino had a baby? First off, I don't want to see that adult film, but I do want to read the comic that is galactic. I kid you not, it's what if George Lucas and Quentin Tarantino effed and had a baby? That is the opening pitch line for Kurt Piers and Amilcar Arpina's Galactic. Done in the style of Star Wars, saga, sex criminals, and more. There is even a talking dog flying a spaceship in this awesome new book. Look at that wonderful homage cover that our interior artist Pina did. This has the potential to be the next saga. I'm excited. I mean, does the pitch not get you, Jay?
That is the best pitch for a comic I think I've ever heard. That is tremendous.
It's one thing to simply say, what if we added Tarantino-esque Star Wars? But it's a whole other thing to literally, again, I have to say, what if George Lucas and Quentin Tarantino effed and had a baby? That is the actual pitch line this summary is give. And if that's the pitch line, I can only imagine what the content of the books look like.
And whoever wrote that pitch line needs to write more pitch lines.
Yeah, absolutely. But we've had a lot of cosmic options and some great covers on this Galactic. So I am very, very excited. Distillery always knows what it's doing. Let's go a little bit more toned down. Let's drive it back down to the paranormal twists of Earth with the final issue of Boom Studios' Grimm, hitting Grimm issue 25 from Stephanie Phillips. And an equally paranormal twisted form, let's go over to Dark Horse with Mike Mignola's Hellboy in a brand new Hellboy miniseries. Only 2 issues, simple, easy way to go. Hellboy and the BPRD deal with the ghost ships of Labrador. I mean, and with the title like Labrador in there, of course, there's a dog on the cover. I'm always a sucker for any of Mignola's, like ships of sail, Baltimore-esque stories. So this one will definitely drag me in. And 2 issues with Rob Williams and Lawrence Campbell returning to the Hellboy verse. Should be fun. Now, we obviously had Philip Kennedy Johnson himself give you the pitch on Infernal Hulk, but I need to emphasize this is going to be a big one. This will undoubtedly shape the Marvel Universe of 2026. You do not want to sleep on it. Key issue. If for any reason you slept on the first 30 issues of Philip Kennedy Johnson's Incredible Hulk, you did yourself an injustice. I, again, am not even a big Hulk fan. And this made me love Hulk once again. It had that supernatural TV series vibe, which is topical because we'll be talking about that a little bit later, of Hulk just having a monster of the week hunt down. Hulk's sidekick point of view character was absolutely amazing. I really hope that Philip does not get rid of her, and I hope she makes her way into the Infernal Hulk. But this is going to be a big one, and it is going to be a big, big part of the Marvel Universe. So do not sleep on this. Get your orders in. There are a lot of great covers, as I am about to show you for the Infernal Hulk. Not one to sleep on again. Anything you're particularly excited about on FOC this week, Jay?
Well, knowing that I was going to be on the show, I should have actually looked at FOC.
You're doing it live.
There's so many great comics coming out though. There's so many that Philip Kennedy Johnson. I see his name on a book. He's one of those creators that, yeah, I need to read that. So I'll definitely be reading that Infernal Hulk. I need to go back and read his regular Hulk series that he's done. Book of El is on my list, of course, because Superman and Philip Kennedy Johnson just go together like peanut butter and jelly. there's a bunch of stuff, newer stuff I tend to wait on. I read old stuff that I missed before, and every once in a while I'll throw in something new. Like we were talking earlier before the show, there was a comic called Savagers
Yeah.
from Panic Entertainment, I think is what they're called.
Yes,
Uh,
indeed.
Company I had never heard of, and I just happened to find that book, and I read it. And if you're into body horror, if you're into alien parasites taking over the earth, and you have that one person that's special enough to form a bond with their parasite to where they go and fight other parasites, I would definitely keep that on your radar.
Absolutely. I mean, Panic came out this past Wednesday, October 1st, likely still available at a local comic shop near you and possibly still available for reorder. I think we have issue number 2 we'll be talking about a little bit later. Here's a big one, though, I got to put your way, Jay. Obviously, Kyle has expressed his opinions on the Age of Revelation over at X-Men quite a bit.
Yeah.
We are now in a position that many comic shops unfortunately must do often, more often than we like, where we have to place orders for issue number 2 on some of these incredible titles, like Laura Kinney's Sabretooth and Long Shots, before issue number 1 has even come out. It is a very important moment for all of you watching to interact with your local comic shop and let us know if this is something you want to order before you even had the chance to read it, which, let's be honest, can be hard. So, Jay, what are your thoughts on this Age of Revelation set X years in the future, where we have a brand new Age of Apocalypse? Any opinions?
As someone who hasn't read a ton of X-Men things, there are certain characters in this that I'm excited for, and there are certain books I am like that Laura Kinney Sabretooth one. That just looks awesome. Like just from the cover alone, I'm like, I think I might want to check that out. And there's characters that I don't know too terribly much about, like Long Shot. I know a little about them, but seeing oh my goodness, is it Mojo? I always forget this character's name.
Mojo? Yeah.
Seeing these covers with that, the cover alone again, it's like, you know what? I might check it out. I feel like I'll be lost with this. I feel like there's a bunch of stuff I should have read before, but some of these covers look so interesting. They're like, it'd be a cover buy. I'm going to see this cover and be like, you know what? I'm going to give this the shot. And if I end up liking it, I can always go back and find stuff that it ties to or whatever. And then that's the great thing about comics for me is I find something that people have been reading for years and years and years. I finally find it and I like it. And that gives me the opportunity to go back to the past a little bit and then read through and then fall in love with this stuff like other people. Other people have told me, I wish I was in your shoes and got to read this particular issue all over again for the first time. And again, that's just something I love about comics is you can always go back and find stuff.
I mean, you nail it perfectly because I can even tell you, I remember the very first time I saw the baby X-Men that are currently on the cover to Long Shot number 2. And I'm like, oh, why would I want to read about baby X-Men? I'm mature. I'm, an older kid, like I don't need to do that. And now I see them on the cover of Long Shots 2, and all I want to do is go back to that old Art Adams cover, stare at it, flip through the book again. And you're right. It is a great thing that sometimes, people, we have 2 different worlds right now of comics where people either love variants, they collect them all, or they hate them and they wish there was only one cover on every book that was specifically by the interior artist and only had to do with the interior stories. But it has a value. I love when somebody picks up a cover because it looks awesome and then accidentally opens up this book and reads all these amazing pages and discovers something new. But the best part of comics is when we get those references, those old captions, referencing an old storyline or an Easter egg to something, and you can go to your local comic shop and they can point you in the direction to track down more of these long-lasting tales. Because you can dive into something like, say, Incredible Hulk number 30 on the 15th and miss all 29 of the previous issues and be happy. You can move forward into Infernal Hulk. But it is awesome when you get those moments where you decide, but I do want to know more. And you go back and read those first 29 issues of Incredible Hulk. Maybe you want to know more about the One Below All and you go back to Immortal Hulk and read it. Maybe you dive so far back you're reading about the One Above All in Fantastic Four 511, or dive to the very beginning of Marvel Universes itself, reading Stan Lee and Jack Kirby content. It is always moving forward, but there is a great history to catch up on, whether it be through trade paperbacks or back issue diving at your local comic shop. I think we went on a tangent there.
A little bit, but that's all right.
So let's go with something simple and straightforward. How about one of the most classic novels ever? You likely read it in school, but if you didn't, The Lord of the Flies is Battle Royale, Hunger Games, The Long Walk, and more, way before any of those. We have the classic tale being adapted and illustrated as a graphic novel for perhaps the first time. William Golding's Lord of the Flies, the tale of survival, of youth in a crazy scenario. But I feel anyone who is forced to read this in middle school or high school likely has that moment where they, if they did do the reading as opposed to like Spark Notes or cheated their way through, you had to ask, what would you have done in that island? What would you have done in that situation? So this will be a really cool new way, I'm sure, for many kids to cheat reading the original prose novel, but for a lot of us to relive this epic tale with some stunning visual artwork by Amy Dejon. I mean, I'm sure, Jay, you read Lord of the Flies at some point in your life, right?
I did. High school was quite a few years ago, but I remember thinking I thought it was incredible the first time I read it.
Yeah. It was definitely one of those ones, unlike any of the other books you had to read in school. No matter what era you were in, it seems like Lord of the Flies was part of the, curriculum. And like it was kind of the cool, dark, twisted tale as opposed to like, the Grapes of Wrath or something like that. All right. Now for something completely different. How about Love for a Walk? This is a webtoon book finally getting physical print about a young woman whose relationships have been riddled with issues because of her love for her rather untamable dog. However, she does have a neighbor who loves dogs. And how can that start a relationship that could ever go wrong? I love goofy slice of life things like this, but I am not a digital person. I don't do webtoons. So I am excited when there is a physical opportunity to read something that, younger readers are all talking about as the hot new thing. And this is one that I think will work for a lot of people. Goofy slice of life, animals. You can never go wrong with animals. I'm sure mine is running around behind the camera, half the time I'm doing this. This will be a really delightful one, I feel. So moving through a million different bits of Marvel Knights and Marvel Zombies, we just wrapped up Disney Plus's Marvel Zombies TV series on streaming. So for those of you who want more, how about Marvel Black, White, Blood, and Guts? Because, one and in a title is not enough. In the weirdest pairing of creators imaginable, we have Garth Ennis of The Boys, of Crossed, and so many others. And then Alyssa Wong of Star Wars The High Republic, Swordmaster, and so many great DC characters. What was the Spirits one she did over at DC? But I am all in for this weird combination of two super talented writers. And Jay, I imagine you are all in for a little bit of more Marvel Zombie love, right?
Oh, 100%. And, Garth has done some stuff like The Boys and Crossed, but that's not all Garth does. Now, that style is going to work perfectly for a Marvel Zombies book, 100%. But, he also did the 007 run after Phillip Kennedy Johnson did that was amazing.
Indeed, I forgot about that. That was a great Dynamite run.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Garth Ennis is definitely another one of those creators that he might be hit or miss with a lot of folks, but he's very hit with me most of the time.
And I love seeing him on Marvel characters that aren't just Punisher and Nick Fury. So this will be very interesting. I mean, let's see, what do we got? Garth is going to be doing. Oh, it doesn't even say what characters he'll be handling. So that'll be a fun and exciting adventure, I think. But we're quickly moving through PRH and getting towards wrapping everything up. So make sure you take a look at all of these amazing books, read all of their solicits, see all of their great covers, decide what it is you want. One I always have to point out, now and then there's certain manga that just shaped me, and one of these was Old Boy. Old Boy for a lot of people was a incredible film about 20 years ago that they had to drag their friend in and convince, hey, subtitles are all right, but it is a classic manga by Garen Tsuchiya, and I think this is a top tier example. I love that we're now getting to the point that Dark Horse is putting out these higher quality deluxe manga because, well, I love the small format you can fit in your pocket or purse or however. These big deluxe editions are the way that I want to enjoy manga. So, Old Boy, if you have not read it, well worth the time. If you've already read it, you know this is worth repurchasing and rereading at this larger scale. It's a hefty price tag at $70, but you're going to get multiple copies of the volumes. This is the first 4 volumes of Old Boy. So, definitely a great way to relaunch and reread it. Or if you've only seen the film, enjoy the true content that led to that awesome film. Speaking of awesome films, you excited for the next Predator film, Jay?
Yes, I am. Wife and I loved Prey. We loved the Killer of Killers animated thing that Hulu had. Yeah, bring it on.
All right. Well, if you want to properly get ready for Predator Badlands, you're going to want to pick up Ethan Sachs' Predator Badlands prequel comic. Yes, it's the official prequel done in collaboration with the director Dan Trachtenberg. This is going to be awesome. We've had Ethan Sachs on the show before. He is a very talented writer, and the idea that he's working directly with the people on the upcoming film to lead us in has me so hyped that not only do I get all the fun I love in sequential artwork, but it's going to lead us directly into the epic new movie. So lots of fun there. One last big one I have to talk about on PRH with a lot of great continuing series, some stunning covers that are all worth taking in. I mean, you got to love Spider-Girl enjoying a hammock. I should note the incredible From the Chaos of costume variants that the Stormbreaker artists of Marvel are doing with their very unique and very stylish costumes on characters. The one I really want to talk about is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. A lot of awesome books here, but we're slowly making our way through a million S titles. There it is. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles meet Godzilla. Tim Seeley, who is writing everything right now, is going to handle this awesome book. He is also currently writing the main Godzilla ongoing series, Godzilla Kaisei. And now he is dragging the turtles, our mutants in a half shell, up to fight a kaiju. The part that amuses me the most on this is we have Godzuki on one of the covers. And I think me and Jay both had to learn a moment because we were discussing things before the show. I'm like, hey, Jay, what's the name of Godzilla's son again? Because in my mind, I'm like, that's what Godzuki was. But I was incorrect on that. Jay, what was the name of Godzuki's son again?
Manila.
But see, Manila was the kid in the Son of Godzilla movie back in 1963, whereas Godzuki was
the nephew
of Godzilla. The fact that Godzilla, that means, has to have a brother or sister, first of all, that then had children is a little baffling because Manila was at least adopted, which is also weird. But that means Godzilla had a brother or sister who had a kid that is Godzuki for that wonderful Hanna-Barbera cartoon. And now we're getting Godzuki and Godzilla up with the turtles. This is something else.
Yeah, unknown in our chat, I believe, is a big kaiju fan or Gojira fan, Godzilla fan, whatever you want to call it. Maybe, boss, if you could kind of put some of that knowledge in the chat let us know. Is there like a whole family line of Godzilla?
I almost, that's the comic I really want to read. Don't get me wrong. I'm loving all the Kaisei books. I love Godzilla versus Justice League versus Kong. I love Godzilla Destroys the Marvel Universe. I can't wait to see Godzilla take on the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But I really want to know, what's Godzilla's Thanksgiving like?
I'd read that.
Yeah. Just a very odd, the argument with that one uncle who just drank a bit too much radioactive tea, the kids table of, Manila and Godzuki, devouring small villages. Like that seems like the comic we need. May
Yeah,
not be
the thing about the turtles that I've found is the turtles are kind of like Ash Williams. You can team them up with anybody, and it's always a fun time. I mean, that Masters of the Universe Turtles crossover was fantastic. So I'm excited to check this out.
In using that as a comparative, I would have never thought about it, but you're 100% right. You can put Ashley Williams and his boomstick with absolutely anyone, and it works. That's not what I would have ever thought as my walk away from today's show, but you are dead on with that. All right. So, a lot of wonderful titles over at PRH this week. A lot of great trade paperbacks, even some brilliant prose novels, stunning covers across the board. So make sure you take it all in. But I'm actually going to leave Penguin Random House so we can pop over to Lunar Distribution and discuss some of the great DC, Oni, Image, and more titles. So let's pop on over there. Remember, you just scroll down to upcoming FOC and you can click through. As Absolute Batman gets us prepared with reprints, not only of issue number 1, but the most recent contents of 10 and 11. However, if you're a big Absolute Batman fan, the real story is what it was the early life like for this gigantic version of Bruce Wayne and his dump truck of a Batmobile. Well, if you want that story, we have another incredible Johnson that has tales to tell in this. As Absolute Batman gets an annual with Daniel Warren Johnson, James Herron, and Meredith McLaren giving us tales on the early days of Batman. How did he get that Batmobile? What was it like when he first started taking on the party animals? This is awesome. And I love that we found a way that, while I am adoring Scott Snyder and Nick Dragotta's tales, we can have other creators give their take on the overly buff, muscle maniac, axe wielding Absolute Batman. Like, I don't know who I'm more excited about. Like, James Herron always brings us a great tale, but Daniel Warren Johnson, I mean, Daniel Warren Johnson, Jay.
Yeah, 100%. And I had a feeling when the Absolute stuff was being talked about, I was like, oh man, this is probably going to be pretty big for DC. How much I undersold that when we have 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 reprints of most of the issues so far. Like, how fantastic has the Absolute stuff been? I mean, it's amazing. I never thought that I would see a day where I've been a DC fan mainly. I love Marvel too, but DC is just crushing it right now with this Absolute stuff. I mean, they've said the Batman has up to like 32 or 37 issues planned, and every review and every issue that I've read have all been fantastic. Like,
Yeah.
it's strange for a series to get this far and have people still just, they can't get enough of it. And that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, it is insane that things are at the level they are with the Absolute titles, and I hope it never ends. So somebody in the comments asked about my dog, and I think I'm going to do a weird thing of breaking for just a brief second. Come here, Falcor. So, like, yeah, because my dog has become a part of this show somehow, always hanging out behind me, and he is very much hiding behind me right now. But this, believe it or not, is a Chihuahua that is way too big. Why don't you come on over here? You're all right. So you would never guess this is a part Chihuahua with just way too much hair, and I don't know what he is mixed with. He is an absolute mutt. But I knew his grandmother was a tiny little Chihuahua, as his mother was a mix as well. And now I have this phenomenal Muppet of a beast that just hides behind and gives commentary and silence on every comic we talk about. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no idea. But yeah, I know it's grandmother. I've seen everyone. This is the third generation of dog. I don't understand how a Chihuahua can eventually evolve into that, but that is, in my opinion, the definition of evolution does exist when you get this little tiny Chihuahua, and 2 generations later is that muff of hair. So that was Falcor, everyone, and now let's talk about FOC, which is a very different thing. A lot of great continuing series. We are getting facsimiles, though I feel we're coming to an end of facsimiles being the key thing that they were, where everyone was buying them. I'm still loving these classic Archie books as we get Archie facsimile number 8, which is Betty and Veronica 40. We get our traditional facsimile cover with the original, but then we get some of these great pinups as alternate covers, which in my opinion defy the concept of it being a facsimile, but I'm not going to say no to this incredible Dan DiCarlo pinup that ever so wonderfully has a classic joke many youthful people will not understand, as they don't understand the device wedged between Veronica Lodge's ear and shoulder. We come up on Christmas, so it is time to get Batman Santa Claus's epic secondary crossover of Silent Night Returns, which I'm hoping is only part 2 in a trilogy, if I'm lucky enough, come December solicits. We also have the final issue of Batman The Long Halloween, The Last Halloween, which likely will be the last of the epic Jeff Loeb Tim Sale stories, with Tim Sale no longer with us. Nevertheless, therefore, it is nice to see the final Tim Sale cover for this. Big Rig also coming to a conclusion with the final issue of the opening arc of Post Malone's Big Rig Tale. We have a large number of great tales coming out from over at Lunar. One I want to point out, if you missed out on it, a lot of people I feel slept on Blood and Thunder, which was a Skybound piece by E.J. Sue and Benito Sereno. Benito, who has the awesome upcoming comic Hector Plasm that will be hitting stores in a week or two. I absolutely adored this book, with a direct market J. Scott Campbell exclusive variant on the trade paperback. I highly recommend people grab the first 6 issues of this. I hope to see E.J. Sue and Benito doing more in the future, and that depends on you guys grabbing this trade. It is a fun one. Thundercats fan, Chitara is back with a new miniseries, Worldbreaker, giving us more tales on the classic femme fatale of the Thundercats family. A large number of great covers available there. More Conan with the Scourge of the Serpent spinning out. I don't know how this wasn't in our top 10, but this incredible EM Gist cover is haunting. I mean, I always have to ask why it would have to be snakes, but it's the Scourge of the Serpent, so it makes a little sense. Critter is back. Finally, Antarctic Press continuing on over at Lunar Distribution. So we get more of, let's see how we ordered this. Tom Hutchinson's Critter from Big Dog Inc. going through Antarctic Press, going through Massive in the Lunar Massives. So this is like 4 degrees of publication to get this out, but I'm excited to have Critter back. Then, for those of you app game playing fanatics, The Cult of the Lamb is back with a brand new one-shot by Alex Packnadell, featuring everyone's beloved cult leader and Lamb. Great covers by Peach Momoko and Troy Little. A lot of great things. Here's one that has me particularly excited. Posthumously released, Peter David's Epic Mickey. Epic Mickey had a great series of games that had Mickey Mouse bringing ink to life with a huge revival for Oswald, the precursor to Mickey, the Lucky Rabbit. And I am so excited to see this in comic form finally being available in comic shops. Did you ever get a chance to play the Epic Mickey video games, Jay?
I never played it, but I knew of it, and it always looked cool to me.
See, and that's, I hate to say, one of those things for me. I own the video games, and I had my son play them for me because I'm just not good at video games. But I am beyond excited to read the story without having to completely kill myself 5 million times an hour in a video game. So this will be really great. And the late great Peter David writing this adaptation of the video games is awesome. Then in an opposite end of Disney, the villain Maleficent is back. Paulina Ganush doing a second volume of Maleficent after Sue Lee's incredible first volume. This is going to dive even further into the tale of the evil queen of Sleeping Beauty and give us more insight into her role. I always am a Maleficent fan. I know my wife is obsessed with Maleficent. So more covers, more comics, more content, and more tales. You know, I'm certain it'll even be better than Angelina Jolie. A big one for Doctor Who fans coming on the 20th anniversary of the Slitheen, which would be that horrifying, alien right there. We have Dan Waters returning to the, I believe, 15th Doctor. Jay, I don't know if you can correct me on that, but I believe it's the 15th Doctor. I can't say no. I cannot say no. More Doctor Who comics. Dan Waters, the brilliant writer that he is, bringing us back with the 20th anniversary of the first appearance of the Slitheen. So it's crazier to think that we have 20 years now of the new era of the Doctor. But number of great covers available.
You got it, by the way, the 15th Doctor.
It was the 15th Doctor. Thank you so much, Jay. I was waiting for someone in the comments to be like, "Oh, Matthias, do you even know what a TARDIS is?" But there it is. So more Doctor Who fun. I feel we're rambling this week. This week's FOC feels a lot more rambly than normal. Fantastic Four 51 getting a 3D edition from the guys and gals over at Pug and Brian Haberlin's Anomaly Productions, 3D-ifying a classic Jack Kirby story, which will be quite fun.
Folks, if you have not read that, by the way, yes, it's of its time, but it is an excellent story.
Yeah.
Excellent story. It's a single issue. The whole story wraps up in that issue. I got our buddy Eddie Von B got me to read it. And for it being of its time, excellent story.
I mean, it was a crazy placement because this takes place immediately after the introduction of Silver Surfer and Galactus and immediately before the introduction of Black Panther. It's so easy to overlook issue 51, and yet it stands up unbelievably as a standalone masterpiece. And then now we get to dive into it in a near literal form with three-dimensional, effects of the 3D glasses. So that'll be really fun. Tony Fleeks continuing to emotionally destroy us with Feral. Although I should also point out, as a big Dune fanatic who literally has the text of Frank Herbert tattooed on his flesh, the third and final volume of Abrams' Dune adaptation by Frank's son Brian Herbert and ever so classic novelist Kevin J. Anderson is getting a deluxe edition hardcover slipcase you can order right now from your local comic shop. Jay, I think you were just talking about Gehenna Naked Aggression with me a little bit before we went live. The trade paperback is now out. You excited for that one?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be grabbing this. Again, folks, I heard about this book on this show, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna check it out. And I was telling Matthias, and I'll tell you, I did not know that they could put jiggle physics in a comic until I read this book.
The jiggle physics are real, and they are in this book, unquestionably. If the title alone of Gehenna, Naked Aggression, was not enough of a nod, this is a mature title, but definitely a fun one. A lot of great books on FOC this week. A lot of continuing ones, I will say that. New volumes of things, reprints galore. But we're in a time period with so many amazing comics coming out. It is nice to know that you can get a hold of books, even if you missed out on them, with new printings, a return for various publishers finally making their way into comic shops through distributors like Penguin Random House, Lunar, and Universal. And then, of course, trade paperbacks galore. If you are enjoying Tim Seeley and Patton Oswalt's amazing Money Shot, not only can you get that incredible new volume as trade paperback, you can go back and read the original Money Shot stories with the new compact edition that makes it quite affordable. We have all ages books like The New Adventures of Zootopia and Paw and Order, because puns are definitely a key to all humor. But if you want an out there piece, this one definitely excites me because The Wizard of Oz is great. But when I think of Kansas, I think of cowboys, not necessarily Dorothy and Toto. So getting a cowboy in the world of Oz is a fun concept to me. Pecos Bill and the Guns of Oz is going to be that. I mean, 6-shooters and yellow brick roads. I'm in. I'm in.
I'm a sucker for Western comics, man.
Yep. Gotta love the goofy flying monkeys there too. So definitely going to be a tongue-in-cheek take, but with mature audience tones. But I'm down. And I mean, a high ratio variant, not every store is going to qualify for it, but that Donkey Kong-esque video game homage cover by Chris Perez is delightful. All right. Planet Death getting a second printing. For those of you guys who love John Wick, it's the writer of John Wick. Incredible artwork by Tommaso Giorello. It is co-written by the incomparable Robert Venditti, who we had on the show talking about it around the first issue. And issue number 2 of this, I believe, quarterly, if not just bi-monthly comic. I think it's quarterly, is finally up for FOC. So strap in and get ready for that. Punchline from Antarctic Press back once again as Antarctic Press now finds a new home at Lunar through the massive releases. A lot of fun stuff. Rockefellers, definitely taking in the Halloween season, giving us a Halloween tale just in time for Halloween, just 2 days before Halloween, releasing on October 29th. I am loving Peter Tomasi's works at Ghost Machine, so if you haven't checked out Rockefellers or Hornsby and Halo, definitely worth giving it a read. As with Robert Kirkman's new book. Jay, did you get into the shop this past month to grab Skinbreaker?
I have not yet, but some way, somehow, I'm going to get this book because Robert Kirkman, Walking Dead, Invincible being one of my favorite comics ever. Yeah, I'm already on board with this.
And then David Finch's art, I mean, you can see it on this cover to the second printing right here. The detail is so fine that I fully understand why people are investing in the Treasury edition to get the grand scale of it all. And then to allow them to do a second printing of the Treasury edition, because let's face it, a lot of people found out about it way too late and are going to need it, with a brand new ultra detailed cover. It's murdering me. I have to buy a second copy of this oversized book now. And I am just going to do it because it is amazing. David Finch's artwork is insane. I cannot begin to comprehend how he has the time to draw this level of detail, do covers for a million different books, and then still do interiors on something like Skinbreaker. But man, it is amazing. And as always, it's Robert Kirkman. It's world building. This is one of those things where people are not going to be truly talking about it until issue 5 or 6. I mean, think about it. With Invincible, that key moment with Omni-Man and Invincible didn't happen until, what was that, issue 12 or 13? You know, where
Yeah.
we had the Think Mark Think moment.
Mhm.
Imagine when that happens with Skinbreaker. Everyone is going to be going back trying to track it down. Don't be that person trying to catch on this late. Grab the issues now. We know Robert Kirkman has proven himself from Walking Dead, Invincible, Outcast, Thief of Thieves, Void Rivals, the upcoming Transformers 25, I'm certain will prove itself as always. Firepower, Oblivion Song, and more. There is no failed Kirkman book. Hop on. Remember, Robert Kirkman, also the writer of Marvel Zombies. Ton of fun books, a million great covers. Make sure you look through lunardistribution.com to see all these great FOCs. A lot of fun with Stitch. Cannot say no to a Halloween Stitch cover right there. Once again, just 2 days before Halloween. Superman gets some more fun with Superman Red and Blue coming back for a one-shot special with Paul Dini. Yes, Paul Dini of Superman Adventures, of the Batman the Animated Series, the creator of Harley Quinn, is dealing with a new Superman tale alongside Dan Abnett and Michael Walsh. This is going to be an incredible, power-packed book. As we even get Rainbow Rowell, coming over, Michael Walsh, who is doing Exquisite Corpses, having his DC debut. This will be fun. And then last week we had Greg Pak come and talk about Supernatural. It is actually on FOC this week with some great covers, set as season 0.75, right there in between, in the middle of early episodes of season 1 of Supernatural. Dean is back. Sam is back. It may not be the Impala, but there's a great reason why. You're going to have to open to read as we get that Monster of the Week tale. I'm loving it. I am so excited for it. I need to emphasize that photo cover, because photo covers of actors like these are always gold. This is the thing to bring to your local fan expo or GalaxyCon. As these actors do signings, this is the book you want to get them to sign.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little iffy when he was saying that Baby wasn't going to make an appearance in the book, but he said there was a reason, and I'm excited to read what the reasoning is, like how they're going to work that into the story. I'm excited to see what they do with that.
Yeah, the fact that he knows very clearly the importance of that car, realistically, the third main character of the series, and he's going to have this tale, for us. Because, I mean, I'll tell you, there was fear, like before we all truly knew how important that Impala was, when it got T-boned at the end of season 1. But, she stayed with us. So let's see what could possibly take her away from the Winchester boys in Greg's awesome new run. I'm excited about this. A lot of great covers too. So many books on FOC, so many covers, a lot of continuing fun, and great printings. Trades galore. Even a new black and white reprinting of James Tynion IV and Martin Simmons' Dracula with multiple covers. This is a week to FOC, especially if you're a cover person. Reach out to your local comic shop, let them know what it is you want, and let us take a moment to tell you what we think the big ones are as we hit to our top 10. So let's start it off first with, as always, our honorable mention. Because while this didn't make it into the top 10, Star Wars #7, The Battle for Endor, 40th anniversary cover. That is insane to think. Oh my God, I'm too old. 40 years since the Battle of Endor. Some people hate this movie. Some people love this movie. More people probably hate it than love it. But this cover alone is going to make me go on to Disney Plus, crossing my fingers I can stream this later tonight and rewatch this movie. Because, man, Eric M. just knocked this out of the park. This is a phenomenal cover. Tell me this doesn't make you want to rewatch the Battle of Endor. More Ewok.
100%. As a kid, I haven't watched this movie recently, but as a kid, I loved this movie. I loved the Ewok Adventure. Like, and I watched the cartoon. Like, seeing this cover, I was like, yeah, I need to find a way to watch this again.
Yeah, perhaps one of Jim Henson's best productions. I'm not gonna lie. I love that speedy little alien that you see right there on the cover. He was such a great role in that movie that he somehow made it to Skeleton Crew, the new Star Wars TV series on Disney Plus. So yeah, I'm gonna rewatch Ewoks, and it's all Eric Gist's fault. Eric, if you're listening, it's all your fault. I'm gonna rewatch this movie if for any reason it doesn't hold up. Oh, great cover. So obvious honorable mention, but let's get to the top 10. Number 10, Robert Quinn's Maleficent cover. I just love that we're getting a revival of Maleficent once more. The first of the Disney villain characters to get a second series over at Dynamite. This will be great. I'm sure I'm going to be ordering multiple copies of this for my wife, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who's going to be reaching out to their local comic shop to place orders. Then the big conclusion to Long Halloween. It's probably our last Tim Sale cover, I think, with Batman. I don't know if Jeff and the boys at DC are hiding any other hidden gems that Tim did before he passed away. But Jeff and Tim were working on this series before his unfortunate passing. And the great thing was that Tim did manage to get a lot of covers ahead. This is an awesome one because it has all of our key characters from this, including Harley Quinn, which is really great to see Tim Sale do a Harley Quinn piece right there. It's beautiful. It is iconic. And considering this is a posthumous cover, I had to make it land in the top 10. Next up, Peach Momoko's Cult of the Lamb Schism Special. I somehow feel this was actually on the top 10 last week as the foil cover, but it's all the more deserving that it nails it again if it did, because this is a awesome cover for a great franchise, and I think people will come out of the woodwork for this one. Humberto Ramos nailing it with this Fantastic Four #5 cover. I love just everything from the gag of Black Cat stealing Herbie to sneaking ever so slightly tiptoeing around in those heels with Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, not so hidden for us as the viewer, right there invisibly in front of Black Cat. I hope this scene legitimately happens in the interior of this book. No, Jay?
Yes. 100% yes. I want to see this. Just this cover makes me smile. It just makes me smile.
It's a fun one. I mean, and for those of you not reading this, if you like this cover, if you liked any of the Humberto Ramos covers, I want to remind you, Humberto Ramos is doing the interiors of this book. So all of these moments and those silly, gag covers are great scenes that you will find in there. So yeah, this Fantastic Four has been great. Then American Caper. It's not enough that it's Dan Houser and Laszlo, two epic game producers, the people who brought us Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption from Rockstar. It's not enough that it's David Lapham on interiors. Tyler Boss is right now just becoming a king of comics. Whether it's The Furthest Place from Here to Four Kids Walking in a Bank, whether he's doing his incredible work with Tiny Onion or Image, Matthew Rosenberg, and more, his stuff is nailing it. And this cover is just beautiful. Speaking of beautiful covers, Ashley Witter is knocking it out of the park with this Laura Kinney Sabretooth. I mean, all of the covers and content of Laura Kinney Sabretooth are amazing, as we get the trinity of Wolverine's children, from Laura herself, X-23, to Honey Badger, to Daken, who is now the Helverine. But seeing this battle X years in the future of the two claws versus the one, Ashley nailed it. I mean, that's the thing with the top 10. All of these artists nailed it with these covers. So we get another one when it comes to Bengal in spot number 4. Star Wars Legacy of Vader number 10. If you were a fan of the High Republic, you know these characters. Porter Engle, the Blade of Bardota, and Bel Zettifar with his great little charhound there, Ember. This is a wonderful piece as the High Republic has ended. The novels have dropped, the comics are over, and we're all crossing our fingers, waiting for more. We get this delightful nod on the Legacy of Vader, showing off our classic Jedi Knights. 2 stars of the High Republic. I love it. 3 stars, let's be honest. We brought a dog onto the FOC show today. We can talk about the 3rd star being Ember the Charhound on Legacy of Vader. Next up, Carmen Carnero's beautiful cover to Echo, Seeker of Truth. Great piece right there. Love that one. I think this issue could really draw some attention. Taboo tends to sell books to a large number of readers, so this will be a fun one. Then we talked about Godzuki, so we of course have to bring Sean Galloway, who is known for his Saturday morning cartoon style covers, to TMNT Godzilla. Everything from that delightful Shredder riding on Godzuki's shoulder to all 4 of our classic turtles and Godzilla haunting in the background. This definitely has the feel of that Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Splinter.
Did I say Shredder? Oh my God, I said Shredder. Oh. You know who my favorite classic Japanese warrior was in the Turtleverse? I said Shredder, my bad. All right. And then the other Johnson, Daniel Warren Johnson, bringing us a brutal-looking battle for the ages as the absolute Batman rocking that battle axe goes to war with the party animals. Or maybe even not the party animals. That's some definitely less tech-heavy hooded figures. But, Daniel Warren Johnson. I will never say no to Daniel Warren Johnson artwork. Oh, man. So, I got to laugh at TJ's comment there, who has the garage door opener to summon Godzilla? There it is. Some great books on FOC this Monday, October 6th. I am loving a lot of them. I hope you guys all enjoyed this show. You guys enjoyed the millions of great covers, millions of great covers on FOC this Monday. Our top 10 having some brilliant ones. But Jay, there's more to that this weekend. What else is on the EXP this weekend?
Oh man, we got a dynamite, pun intended, art show tonight at 7 Eastern, 6 Central. I believe one of the original art pieces that Nick has is another Space Quest cover. So be sure to tune in.
Space Ghost and Johnny Quest?
Exactly, the Space Quest. And he's got a couple of commission art pieces on there. I haven't looked at the prices yet, but I can tell you all this. Don't be scared thinking you're going to come to the original art show and everything's going to be like $10,000. Nick does have some affordable pieces, and he's always slashing prices. Like, I put the price stuff together, and he's like, let's make it this. So you never know what this art's going to be on the show. So that's it, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. And then at 9 Eastern, 8 Central, you got the folks at Comics Unlimited, Nancy McCann and crew, for Friday Night Live, which is always a fun show. Come hang out. She has vintage comics, classic comics, new comics, and just fun stories. Nancy's been, I say, around forever. We have a joke about her being a vampire, but it's a really fun show. So nothing on the weekend, but if you can find where they're streaming the International Po Fest, that's what Kyle's doing this weekend. You should definitely check that out. Kyle does an amazing job on that. We got to help him out one year with it. It was a blast. So,
all right. And then we'll be back next week with even more fun. I have some incredible special guests we're lining up for next week. But please get your order to your local comic shop. Age of Revelation stuff, all these covers. It's hard it's hard out there for a comic retailer placing orders blind. So it helps so much more when you, the consumer, let us know what it is you want so we, the retailers, can guarantee you're getting exactly that. Thank you all for watching. A huge thanks to Phillip Kennedy Johnson for coming on the show and preparing you all, because again, I cannot emphasize this enough. You're going to want to get your orders in on Infernal Hulk. Do not miss out on Incredible Hulk number 30 in 2 weeks, but definitely get your orders on Infernal Hulk. It will be the mover and shaker in more ways than just the heavy-footed slams of that Hulk next year for Marvel Universe. 2026 is going to be a year of the Hulk. Thank you guys all for watching, and we'll see you next week.